everybody. Here is a bit of an overview and walkthrough of what the goal is for Sunday's assignment. On Tuesday this week, we had a bunch of readings that talked about discourse communities so that we can define what a discourse community is. Thursday's discussion dives a little bit deeper into those concepts, and the required post for Thursday was your mini proposal to study a very specific community. And this should be a community that you think is actually a discourse community, because that becomes your hypothesis for our final research project. What you do on Sunday and what we're going to go over here is you start to do your secondary research. And secondary research is research done by other people. Primary research is research that you will do. It's original research that you will do in a couple weeks at the end of the semester. So what this assignment is asking us to do is, hold on, there we go. You become a scholar. And I say that you become a scholar because all semester long we've been talking about what scholarly research is. We've been talking about what academic scholarship looks like. And in our culminating final project, you are actually going to be positioned as a scholar. You're going to design your own research study and you're going to carry it out. You're going to be writing like a scholar, which I think is a very, very helpful way for really having our class come full circle so that we understand what scholarship is by doing it. The scholarly process, this should look somewhat familiar to you guys. The author is interested in a topic. You have to choose the community that you're interested in. You seek out existing scholarly literature. This is secondary research. You seek to understand what other scholars have said about your topic. And we do this because we want to find a research gap. Every scholar wants to find a research gap, something that is not yet there, something that has not yet been said, so that the author can develop his or her own research study, fill the research gap, and have a long and illustrious academic career in scholarly publishing. Now, of course, we're in English 102. You guys aren't necessarily going to go to grad school, but some of you will, and this is a nice overview to what academic writing really is about. So the previous slide kind of generally talked about what the academic scholarship process is, and this slide talks about the academic scholarship process for our particular final paper. Number one, what we're doing this week, choose a community that you think is a discourse community. Seek out any existing scholarly research on the community that you have chosen. We're doing this because next week we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how these people that you found are actually discussing your community. And by the end of that, you should be able to say, look, I noticed that either there are people who have used John Swales to analyze this community that I've chosen, or what's much more likely, no, nobody's done this before. That's what we want. That's good. You want to have a topic and a final research paper that says something totally new. Numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8, that's what we'll get to in a few weeks, where you're actually doing your own scholarly research. So what you have to do on Sunday is basically a culmination of what we've been doing already this week. You should have chosen your community on Thursday in the discussion thread. I responded to everybody, and if my response was, you need to rethink this, or can you make this a little bit more specific, then you want to do that as soon as possible. If you proceed with this project and you have a topic that's way too broad, everything is going to fall apart. So you want to think really, really carefully now about making your group as specific as possible. You're not going to find a lot of sources on it. That's okay. I'm going to talk about that in a couple slides. You're going to seek out existing scholarship, existing scholarly research on your topic, so that you can kind of get a sense by Sunday of who, if anyone, is doing research on your group. How do you do this? We're going back to Academic Search Complete. You got to limit it to scholarly peer-reviewed articles. You're going to type in the name of your community in the most basic terms possible. Do not use the phrase discourse community. You don't want to do that. right? Just type in the name of your community. If you are studying rock climbers at Miguel's Pizza Shop, that's great. It's super specific. You want to type in rock climbers at Miguel's Pizza Shop. You're probably not going to find anything, so you can turn that back to rock climbers, and you're going to find a lot. If you are studying the staff at Dunkin' Donuts in Mentor, you're not going to find any scholarly articles on that, but you probably will find scholarly articles on fast food service workers. More on that in a little bit, but basically what you want to do is type in your search terms and see if there's anything out there. So here's what I mean by 2 topics. Rock climbers at Miguel's campground, that's great, it's super specific. Serving staff at town hall, that's great, it's super specific. However, when I type those 2 things into Academic Search Complete, I'm probably not going to get anything. That should not discourage you. That should actually let you know that you're on to a really good topic. It's so specific that there's nothing out there, and that's a good thing. So we want to revise our searches to kind of just search for the general group, right? Rock climbers at Miguel's campground. If I'm searching for rock climbers, that's a generalization of the group that I'm interested in. That's great. If I am interested in the serving staff at town hall, what I'm really looking for is any scholarly information on servers in general, and there's going to be a lot, right? I do see, once I put in rock climbers, that there's lots of research on rock climbers, but there is nothing about rock climbers from Miguel's campground. That's great. It means that I am onto something wonderful. I see also that there is a whole bunch of research out there on serving staff, but nothing about town hall right here in Cleveland. That's great. It means I have a research gap. Why do we want to do this? Why am I asking you to go to Academic Search Complete and look for sources on your topic? It's because that is, again, one of the early stages of scholarly research. You have to see what's already out there. Before you design your own research study, you have to see what people have already put work, effort, and research into. So you want to look for any info that may exist already on your community. See what's already out there. Point 2 here, if you find that there's no info on your specific community, you still want to kind of generalize your own group to see if there's any information out there that even sort of relates to the community that you've chosen. I want to reiterate again that if you don't find anything on your very specific community, that's a good thing, but it also means that you have to kind of generalize your own community and search for articles with terms that are really general and basic. Sunday's goal, a works cited page. That's essentially what you're looking for, a works cited page. And every single article should be scholarly. Every single article should be APA formatted. Every single article should be focused on your community in some way, shape, or form. Because that tells me that, number 1, you've gone to Academic Search Complete and you've looked for research articles. And number 2, you found something. You found something to be able to say, okay, at this point I can kind of get a sense of how other people are researching the topic that I'm interested in. I want to remind you that if you go to Academic Search Complete, when you click on an article title, all this stuff pops up on the side, and you have this little cite button. Since I'm asking you to do this in APA, I would say go to the cite button, click this, and then you'll be able to scroll through. You'll be able to scroll through using this thing until you find APA. Copy and paste that into your works cited page, and you'll have to do some formatting fixes to make sure that your indents look good, but you've got this stuff done for you. Do your best. The goal is to look for sources. The goal is to look for sources that relate to the community that you'd like to research, and the community that you'd like to research is one whose communication patterns you think, you hypothesize, fit all of the criteria that John Swales lays out in his article that we read for Tuesday this week. Text or email me with questions, and good luck.